Just remember in the winter, far beneath the bitter snow, lies the seed.
If you want to go ahead and stand up for me. As I take these cuffs off, just go ahead and put your hands down at the waist, okay? You know, especially these types of cuffs aren't the most comfortable.
I don't think they're really designed for comfort.
Nope, they're not. Okay. You're not going to give us any problems being out of the cuffs.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't look like the type that would.
I don't think it would really be to my benefit anymore.
Okay. Today's date is July 16th, and my name is Detective Rachel Blaney, and I'm here with Jody Arias. Is that how you say your last name? Arias. Okay, I'm sorry. This is just formality, and this is, you know, if I have to, you know, write up a report of what we talked about, at least I know word for word, you know, what you said, and there's no mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's for your own protection or good that
Right.
we record it. And before we go any further, I need to read your Miranda rights again, just to make sure that you understand. You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Yes.
Anything you say may be used against you in court. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have the right to the presence of an attorney before and during any questioning. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you free of charge before any questioning if you want. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The reason that I wanted to talk with you this morning, there's a couple of reasons actually. I have been privy to the investigation and all of the evidence in this case, and to your conversation with Detective Flores yesterday. And there's really no, let me say this, it's obvious to me that, you're not our typical suspect. You come from a good home, a good family. Your parents obviously care about you. That was evident, when they talked to him yesterday. And you're a bright girl. Probably more intelligent than you were letting on yesterday. And there's no question in my mind or any of the other investigators' mind that you were the person that took Travis's life. But what I need to know, or what I'd like to know, and give you the opportunity to do, is determine whether, you're a cold-blooded, cold-hearted murderer who slaughtered this guy, or are you somebody that got caught up in circumstances and things got out of control? Because I think that is what happened, honestly, in looking at everything and all of the facts and talking to people. I think in every person that anybody could be capable of harming another person. I think it's in our nature, and generally most people suppress that. But I think given the right circumstances and the right time and the right place, anybody could be capable of harming another person. I see that on a regular basis. What I generally see are the cold-hearted, ruthless types. What I don't see very often, Jody, are people like yourself that are intelligent and spiritual and caring, and so I tend to believe that it was an incident of circumstance, if you will. It looks as if this guy Travis befriended you, you got into this relationship, and it certainly looks to me like he took advantage of your generosity and your kindness. One of the other detectives had described him to you as a player. And I don't think that that's very far off from everything that I've seen. And I don't think there's a woman out there that hasn't been treated badly or taken advantage of by a man like that. And I'm hoping, because you come from a good family and because you have a decent background, I'm hoping that you'll be smart about things and make some choices for yourself to help better your situation. When this hits the news, and it'll go to the media, do you want to be portrayed as that cold-blooded, cold-hearted murderer? Because the media loves that. That's not, that won't be our words or their words when they do a press release, but that's what, the media will take a look at the facts and that's what they'll portray it as. Or do you want to be portrayed as a person that didn't mean to have any of this happen? It just got out of hand and you're remorseful. Which way do you want to go? How do you want to portray yourself? You're a businesswoman, is that correct? Okay. And you have a couple of different businesses going, right? So you're a smart girl, Jody. Smart woman. You got to have a lot on the ball to be, your own businesswoman and balancing everything the way you do, because it sounds like you got a lot going on and a lot of juggling and balancing. You're obviously very organized, well-read.
I would say well-read, but not organized.
Not organized? Why so?
I procrastinate, so papers pile up and things don't get filed on time, and I lose stuff, and then I find it later when I don't need it anymore. When I do need it, I can't find it. So
Okay.
just general stuff like that.
Well, maybe you're not as organized as I had thought. certainly
I
human.
try. I mean, I go through these periods where it's like today is devoted to organization, and then I'll get organized, and
Mhm.
it'll be that way for a little while, and I'll kind of let it slide, and then I'll have to go back and clean up again.
Mhm. All right. So I think that, the reason you're here is I think that you should have just at least one more shot at, the opportunity to do the right thing. You say that you're spiritual, or those are my words, not yours, but that's certainly what I got out of, reading everything and looking at everything, that, you have some sort of relationship with God, or, some sort of deep spirituality, and so did Travis. And it sounds like, you cared about what Travis's family thought of him, maybe what they thought of you. I don't know whether you ever met them.
I met his grandmother
Okay.
many times.
Were they good people?
Yeah, wonderful. And I didn't meet his family at his services, but I saw some of his sisters, and he talked about them a lot. And he talked about how proud he was of all of his brothers and sisters, because they come from a rough background, but they've all done really well.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine that keeping all of this in, I can only imagine, because I've never been there myself, but I can only imagine that keeping all of this in is just tearing you apart inside. It's not hard to tell that. You have portrayed yourself as being very strong, but you can see it in your eyes, Jody.
It's not like, it's not that I'm in my dad said that Detective Flores told him that I was just cold yesterday. And it's not that I'm cold, I'm just resolute. And it's not that I haven't cried, it's all I've done for the last month.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to work part-time, and at my job I need to be a happy, cheery person. So I've got to suppress all of that and put on an act while I'm on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm going to get any more clients for my business, I've got to be an attractive person in my personality. So it's not like I haven't been grieving him since I heard about him.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have an image. I understand that. You have an image to uphold, and you have to portray, that you're a together, savvy woman. Not somebody who's fallen apart. So that's understandable.
I fall apart when you aren't looking, and when it's at night and I go to sleep. Travis always used to call me, not always, but very frequently. So that's the hardest part, is when I go to sleep at night, and if he wasn't calling, then I'd just call him, and sometimes I would just call anyway to just hear his voicemail.
So let me go back to, the choices that you have, because again, there's no doubt in anybody's mind what happened that day. There's no doubt that you were involved that day that Travis died.
Listen, I know that I wasn't involved in Travis's death.
Okay.
But
what you need to decide is, do you want to be portrayed as that cold-blooded killer?
Oh, that's what I was getting at.
Or do you want to be portrayed as somebody that was taken advantage of, and, one thing led to another? You thought your relationship was headed in one direction and it wasn't, or, I don't know exactly the circumstances because I wasn't there. But I would certainly think that it's to your benefit to appear as this is something that just happened. You didn't plan it. It was, it was a heated moment, and you didn't mean to hurt him. Because you didn't mean to hurt him, did you?
I've hurt him very much emotionally, and I never meant to hurt him.
Okay.
He said that I hurt him more than the death of his father.
And I believe that. How are you going to come clean with yourself, between you and God, if you can't even, look his family in the face and show remorse? I don't think that you're a bad person. I don't think that you meant any of this to happen. I think that things got out of control and you didn't know what to do and you panicked. And I would certainly like your parents to see that, your friends to see that, instead of the cold-hearted killer that the evidence is screaming to show. And this is, at a certain point, you gotta do what's right. You gotta make things right for yourself. Because otherwise it's gonna eat inside of you. You're gonna be sitting in that cell with all of this churning inside of you, and it's gonna eat you up. And just because I'm a cop doesn't mean that I don't care, about humanity and people. I'm not sitting here judging you. I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to give you a chance to make things right. Show the families that you do have some remorse. I'll apologize for the things that you've done if that's what makes you feel better, whatever it is. But when you continue to deny when it's obvious that that's not the case, you appear to be the cold-blooded killer. And the media is going to feed off of that. When this goes to trial, the media is there. It's not kept secret. Do you want to be out there and like the O.J. Simpsons? Because nobody felt sorry for him. Nobody respected him afterwards, even though he maintained his innocence. How do you want to be portrayed? Do you want to be portrayed as the person that you are, a decent person who's had some tough times and just didn't make the right choices at the time? Or do you want to be portrayed as a person that doesn't care about anybody or anything?
Of course I don't want to be portrayed as a cold-blooded murderer.
I believe that. I believe that everybody wants to tell the truth, because to keep that lie in tears you up emotionally, physically, mentally. I see that over and over and over again with people. And I believe that you don't want to be portrayed in the negative light that I've already... And I'm not making that stuff up. That's just reality, Jody. That's the way our society works. That's the way this world works. And things are going to start moving real fast here for you. This is kind of a pause, before things, start getting heavy. This is your opportunity to help yourself out. When the jury looks at it, those are the things that they're going to be mulling around in their mind when they decide what type of sentence to hand out, or when they make a recommendation to the judge. Those are the sorts of things that turn a jury. And the juries sometimes can be fickle, but I've never seen a case with so much concrete, hard evidence. We don't need you to tell us anything. I'm doing this for you. Arizona's case goes no matter what. They've got a rock solid case. So what you say is basically irrelevant to their case. Not irrelevant, but it's not going to make it any better for them. But it certainly can help you out.
How can it help me? How can what I tell you today affect the media?
You take control of the situation as much as you can and paint whatever kind of picture you want to paint of yourself. Nobody's going to believe that you didn't do it after they see the evidence. It's just, it is what it is. But it's a matter of, do you want to take control of your situation and paint the picture of who you are, because you're the only one that knows that? Or do you want the media to take the evidence, all of the facts and the information, and paint their own picture of you? And as smart as you are, you know as well as I do that the media doesn't like to paint warm and fuzzy pictures. They would much rather paint the vicious, cold-blooded killer, because that sells. Am I right? So, do you want to control your situation? Paint your own picture? Or do you want to let somebody else do that for you?
I don't feel like I have any control over what the media says anyway.
Well, you do, to a certain degree. You can have the opportunity to tell your side of the story. You know, was it a matter of, like I said, this guy, Travis, building some sort of, what you thought was some sort of relationship? You know, were you hoping for marriage? Because I've heard a lot of talk about, you know, possibilities of marriage, and I know that is, you know, a cornerstone of your faith is marriage and family. Is this something that you were hoping for? Was he leading you down that path? You know, did he take advantage of you? Were there promises made that were broken? Did he betray your trust in some way? I don't know. Only you know that. But certainly if that was the situation, they would look at you in a better light than if you just went in there and just killed the guy just 'cause you're a cold-hearted person. You know, the reasons why are what's going to give you a better portrayal, a better light that you're portrayed in. That's why the reasons why are so important to you, and that's how you can take control. When you leave, you know, Siskiyou County and go back to Arizona, which eventually you will, whether you fight the extradition or not, that's just kind of
An inevitability.
Yeah, it's going to happen eventually. You're not going to have the opportunity to do this again. And I'm certainly, you know, not going back to Arizona. I won't have the opportunity, and the shot will be gone.
What is your role, though? I mean, you're a detective.
Mm-hmm. This is our jurisdiction. It's our county. So, you know, part of this investigation, if you will, is on us. So I've taken an interest in this case. You know, I saw you and I read all this information, and I'm like, man, you know, she's not the typical person that we see in here.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
Not personal questions. I understand they took some of my stuff yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Where does all that go? Does it go to Arizona?
It'll be transferred to Arizona. It's held in evidence. There's a list of everything that was taken, and a copy of that was left at each
location.
At each location.
And it was a carbon copy, so my parents couldn't read it all. My grandparents couldn't read everything. They told me some of the things, and some of the things were like by camera, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. I understand that. My concern is other people. For example, I'm a wedding photographer, and I just did a wedding on Friday, and I feel bad for Brian and his wife Katie, because those are their wedding pictures. That's all they have for their wedding, and I just want to know when they'll be able to get their wedding pictures.
I don't know when. I don't know how, you know, this could go on for quite a while.
That's the only thing they have to remember the day.
They're not going to destroy the wedding pictures. They're not going to get rid of them or anything like that.
You know, and I just take pride in my work, and I guess, you know, I'm not going to have a chance to edit them and make them really beautiful. Like, they already turned out really good, but, you know, with Photoshop, I just do all kinds of neat effects, and they turn out like magic. And so, that won't be the case this time, but at least the hard files are there for them. And, you know, if they're not going to get them forever and ever, it's going to suck for them, but as long as they get them eventually.
They'll get them eventually.
And also
I think that, you know, go ahead.
My sister, I don't know what her problem is. I mean, she's far less messed up than I am, I guess, but she's in a program right now in Klamath Falls for till the end of August, rehabilitating from something. And my mom, we write her, you know, we only get to talk to her once a week, and my mom was going to send pictures, because I have on my external drive, I have a bunch of pictures of her and I that we just were doing this with, just taking pictures of each other on her prom night, because I helped her do her hair, and I helped her, you know, just take pictures, and then I dropped her off, and she just wanted some of those to have. And she's all done up glamorous, and she's like, I can't remember what I look like without makeup. And I did a photo shoot with my little brother last week, and they turned out really good, and she wanted those pictures too. She doesn't have access to any of them now. And those are all family treasures. And I did that, of course, because it's for them, and it's, you know. But I would have made her a CD, but my CD-ROM just wasn't working right. And I just didn't get around to making it because I didn't have the proper tools to do it. And she just wants those to mail to Angela.
Well, see, these are the sorts of things that, you know, paint the picture of a good, decent person where things just went a little wrong. You know, you showing so much concern and care.
Do you know what happened to my journals too?
You know, I wasn't there when...
I know they said they took one. I don't know if they took my other ones.
Where were your other ones at?
In my fireproof safe.
Okay. I'm not sure. They have a hard copy, you know, an actual copy, an original copy.
If you want my journals, it documents the entire time starting from when I moved to Arizona up until 2 or 3 days ago.
Where's that safe at? Is that
it's
at your...
under my bed. They said they looked through it.
Okay. Well, then, if there was anything...
I don't know if they felt it was
necessary.
relevant, but...
You know,
I'm sure Travis got a lot of ink in my journals. I don't know. It doesn't matter now because I know you guys think what you think, but...
It's not, you know... The job of the detectives, any detective, is to determine, you know, what happened, whether a person, you know, is there evidence that would clear you, evidence that would convict you, etc. We're totally neutral going in. And it's not a matter of, you know, our opinion and what we think. It's a matter of taking a look at all of the evidence and knowing. And, you know, I think you're not grasping the reality of this situation. And hearing, you know, what your concerns are, you should be concerned for yourself right now. You should be fighting for yourself. This is not going to go away anytime soon for you, Jody. You know, you're a young woman, just starting your life. You had a lot going for you. You should be fighting for yourself right now.
There's really nothing to fight for if I fight. It just makes me look worse.
If you fight,
and if I give you some false confession, that just makes it look